Google has managed to deliver a truly flagship level experience with its new Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL smartphones, as everything from the features, build quality, and performance have been improved. Now, in the past, the Pixel phones have been known for their standout cameras, and this year it's no different. Like every year, this time we'll be pitting the Pixel 3 XL against two of the best smartphone cameras around, the Apple iPhone XS and the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. We'll also be throwing in the Google Pixel 2 XL in the ring. Given its new selling price of 45,499 rupees, it might just be a good bargain buy if your top priority is the camera. Our first landscape test has an interesting mix of colors and textures and objects at varying distances. Even after looking at 100% crop of the images, all of them capture very good details in the leaves and the creepers of the pillars, as well as the high rises in the surrounding area. The Galaxy Note 9 does the best job of suppressing noise, but in doing so, tends to flatten some of the textures in the buildings in the distance. The sky also appears a tad overexposed compared to the others. The Google Pixel 2 XL does a commendable job too with details, but fails to capture the blue hue of the sky. The iPhone XS and the Pixel 3 go toe to toe here, but we found the iPhone to do a slightly better job in details and noise reduction, which is why we picked this as a winner for this round. In a macro test, we check for accuracy of colors, details in the textures, and how smooth the bokeh is. The iPhone XS has the most neutral color tone here, as the others have a slightly warmer hue. As a result, the purple shade of the flowers appear brighter and more vivid. The Pixel 3 XL on the other hand has a slightly better sharpness around the edges of the petals. The Pixel 2 XL isn't too far behind than the Pixel 3 in this one. The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 sharpens the flowers a bit too much, giving it an almost artificial look. Here we would pick the Pixel 3 XL for having the most natural looking shot. Our second test is a bit more challenging as it was shot under direct sunlight. This shot taken from the iPhone XS is the brightest, but the shadow cast by the flowers on the leaf isn't as well defined as the other three. The orange shade also looks a bit jarring in comparison to the others. The Galaxy Note 9 once again cranks up the sharpness a bit too much for our liking. The Pixel 2 XL and the 3 XL tie in for top spot, followed by the iPhone and then the Note 9. So far, we've seen that shooting under ample natural light, the sensors of all the phones do a very good job for the most part. But what happens at night when the light isn't ideal? In our first test, we mainly checked to see how the sensors handle noise with very little light sources around. Surprisingly, the iPhone XS has actually the cleanest image of all, with no visible noise in the sky or the shadows, while still maintaining good detail on the building. The colors and dynamic range might seem a bit flat compared to the others, but it best represents the actual scene at hand. The Pixel 2 XL and 3 XL have slightly noisier images, but the newer model is able to resolve better detail compared to the 2 XL. The Pixel 3 XL also has the most dramatic and striking looking shot, even though it might not actually represent what the scene looked like. The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 shoots the brightest image, but this also introduces quite a bit of noise. In our second test, we have a better lit subject that's not too far from us. Here, the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 comes fighting back, producing the cleanest image with the least amount of noise. It also has the best white balance and very good sharpness in details. The Pixel 2 XL exaggerates the blues here a bit, giving the image a cooler tone, while the iPhone XS veers a bit towards the warmer side. The Pixel 3 XL does a slightly better job with the color temperature of the image, but it's still a bit noisy and not as clean as the Galaxy Note 9. Shooting macros in low light can be a challenging affair, as we found out with the iPhone XS in our first test. Here, the iPhone really struggled to lock focus on our subject, but eventually did after many tries. However, we weren't really happy with the end result, as the detail and colors were quite poorly represented. The Pixel 2 XL and the 3 XL manage nearly identical shots. There's excellent dynamic range, sharpness, and the colors are easily identifiable. The Galaxy Note 9 didn't have any trouble focusing either, and it actually produces a brighter image, albeit with some noise. In our second test, we shot our subject under better fluorescent lighting. Here, the iPhone XS was quick to lock focus and managed to produce the most neutral color tone. However, looking at 100% crop, you'll notice that the edges of the petals and the leaves are slightly blurry and not well defined. The Pixel 2 XL and the 3 XL have a cooler color tone here, but have much sharper edges. The Galaxy Note 9 has the brightest image, but dilutes the pink color of the flower. We would pick the iPhone XS over here for having the most accurate colors, even though it lags behind a bit on the detail. While shooting in low light isn't a huge challenge for these phones, there are times when you do need to use a rear flash. In this test, we had our subject standing in complete darkness to check how the flash illuminates our subject while still maintaining good detail in a well-lit background. The iPhone XS triggers its slow sync flash here, which lights up a subject evenly while still maintaining very good details and natural colors in the background. In fact, the iPhone XS has the least amount of noise and best detail in the objects placed at a distance, although details on a subject could have been better. The Pixel 2 XL manages slightly lesser noise compared to the 3 XL for the background and produces the most dramatic looking image, which probably would appeal to most. The 3 XL on the other hand has more natural skin tones, but the whites on our subject's shirt appear a bit off-white compared to the others. The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 has the strongest flash and lights up our subject very well, but fails to capture good detail in the background. Using the rear flash might not always be the optimal solution, especially if your subject is at a great distance. This is where Google's upcoming night sight feature might come in handy. This will be rolling out as a software update to the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 2 series soon. Now we managed to get our hands on a pre-release version of the software thanks to XDA developers so we could test it out. Now the way night sight works is, rather than keeping the shutter open for about 4 to 5 seconds, which would completely blur an image, night sight takes up to 15 frames with a reasonably slow shutter to give you an effective exposure of about 5 seconds. Now we tried it on the Pixel 2 XL and the Pixel 3 XL and the results were quite impressive. Now depending on the amount of light at hand, it takes about 3 to 4 seconds to actually finish capturing all the frames, although this could improve once the final version is out. Now even though it's impossible to stay absolutely still for this long when shooting handheld, the final shot was still sharp and highly detailed compared to the one taken without night sight. We've skipped the pixels from zoom tests in our earlier comparisons, but with Google touting its new Super S zoom feature, we just had to see how it compared against the phones with optical zoom. With ample amount of light at hand, the iPhone XS and the Galaxy Note 9 willingly switched to their respective telephoto sensors, and here the difference is quite evident once you look a little closer. Even though the iPhone XS manages better exposure, we have to award this round to the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. It manages smoother color gradients, excellent sharpness and detail on the car. It, along with the iPhone XS, are the only two phones that manage to deliver plenty of detail in the trees behind the cars as well. The Pixel 3 XL's image isn't very sharp in comparison with optical zoom, but it's still better than what the Pixel 2 XL fared. However, both of Google's phones crush the blacks and the shadows on the leaves in the background. But what happens when you push the zoom slider all the way to the max? The Galaxy Note 9 and the iPhone XS can achieve a higher rate of digital zoom compared to the Pixels. Here, the Note 9 and the iPhone XS have slightly sharper images with better detail, especially if you look at the tire. The Pixel 3 XL isn't far behind, as for a phone with just digital zoom, it's still pretty impressive. The image from the Pixel 2 XL is much softer in comparison. In low light, it's a very different story. Here, both the iPhone XS and the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 stick to their main primary sensors due to the wider aperture. So when we do a full digital zoom, the end results aren't great as there's way too much noise in the images. The Pixel 3 XL on the other hand has the smoothest image with the least noise, followed closely by the Pixel 2 XL, while still maintaining fairly good detail. Now, not that we'd recommend using digital zoom in low light, but it's nice to see how these phones actually perform when they're really pushed to their limit. All four phones do a good job at stitching panoramas together. Barring the Pixel 2 XL, which captured a much darker image, all the others manage very good detail and colors. In our first test under natural light, the iPhone XS wins this round by a mile. The colors, level of sharpness and skin tones are unparalleled compared to the rest. It also manages to nail edge detection here. The Pixel 3 XL comes in second as it also captures good colors, but the details on our subject's face isn't very well defined and it's also blurred out one of his eyebrows. The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 has a well-lit image, but burns out the sky in the background and some of the highlights on our subject's face, which once again isn't a very accurate representation of his actual skin tone. In comparison, the Pixel 2 XL has the most dreary looking shot with dull colors and poor exposure. In artificial light, the Pixel 3 XL has the best shot of the four, capturing excellent detail and sharpness with good edge detection. The iPhone XS fares well with edge detection, but ends up with a noisy image with lesser detail on a subject's face. The Pixel 2 XL does a commendable job here, but tends to get slightly confused with the blinds behind a subject, thus resulting in ineffective blurring. The Galaxy Note 9 has the softest image of the lot, but does manage to blur out the right edges. We also tested portrait mode on objects, where the iPhone still struggles in getting the edges right. Here, the iPhone XS blurred portions of the petals of the flower too, when it was not supposed to, and the white color is a little overblown. The Pixel 2 XL and the 3 XL do a great job at edge detection and have some of the best sharpness in this shot. The Pixel 3 XL has noticeably better white balance compared to the Pixel 2 XL. Finally, the Note 9 does detect the edges well too, but it does miss out on good detail. In selfies shot during the day, the iPhone XS has the most natural looking shot with just the right softness on the skin and the right exposure on our subject's hair. However, it does have the narrowest field of view among the lot. If you're looking for a more dramatic shot, then our guess is you'd probably prefer the Pixel 3 XL's photo. The higher contrast does crush the blacks a bit, but the detail is pretty amazing. The Pixel 2 XL has a similar looking shot too, which is not bad. The Galaxy Note 9 softens the skin way too much, which removes most of the detail. The Pixel 3 XL can also take advantage of its second wide-angle 8-megapixel sensor, which captures slightly less detail but gets more of the background in the frame. With portrait modes turned on for the selfie camera, we found the iPhone XS to do the best job with edge detection, as the Pixel tends to leave out some gaps around the shoulder region, while the Galaxy Note 9 messes this up even more. Except for the Galaxy Note 9, all the other phones let you adjust the level of blur after you've taken the shot. We tried a few selfies indoors too, under dim lighting, and left the flash on all phones to auto. Here, the Pixel 3 XL managed the most detailed selfie and tries to best color correct the amber light from the chandelier above. The image from the Pixel 2 XL more closely represents the actual lighting and has a similar level of detail as the Pixel 3 XL. The Galaxy Note 9 has a much softer image overall and the reddish hue isn't too pleasing. Finally, the iPhone XS has a comparatively dull image with lesser detail, but it does manage to keep the color tone neutral. When shooting in low light with the flash, we wanted to see how powerful the screen flash is when you have many people in the frame. The iPhone XS has the weakest flash and we just about managed to squeeze in everyone in the frame with our arms stretched out all the way. With the Pixel 3 XL, getting more people in the frame wasn't really an issue. We did end up with a weird reddish glow on our faces, but it's still not powerful enough to illuminate everyone's face. Now you can go wide angle on the Pixel 3 XL, but don't expect the flash to get any brighter. The Samsung definitely has a brighter screen flash, but the results are not very satisfying. I guess a lesson we've learned here is that if you want to get a good shot of you and your friends in unfavorable light, have someone else take the picture for you. All phones are capable of 4K video recording, with some like the iPhone XS and the Galaxy Note 9 capable of shooting at 4K at 60 FPS. In daylight, the iPhone XS does a fantastic job with detail and the colors in the video are most accurate to what you actually see. Audio quality is equally good too. The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 comes in a close second, delivering the best audio separation with equally good details and colors. The Pixel 3 XL has good stabilization, but we noticed a shift in white balance a bunch of times in this test as it graduated from a neutral tone to a warm tone and back again. The audio isn't very good either, as our voice sounded like it was coming from afar, which shouldn't be the case. Now if you remember, the Pixel 2 XL also had a similar microphone issue when recording video, but Google fixed this with a software update, so we are hoping this is also easily fixable on the 3 XL. The Pixel 2 XL does manage very good video quality and does not have that audio issue which is present in the 3 XL. However, it's in our low light 4K test where the iPhone XS really gets to stretch its legs. With some noise and a slight shimmer effect due to stabilization, the XS still manages to deliver the best quality video of the lot. The Note 9 comes in second as far as image quality goes, but the video looks a little jumpy and not very pleasing due to the stabilization. The Pixel 3 XL handles noise pretty well at 4K, but the resulting footage is a little too soft and hazy for our liking. The Pixel 2 XL has the worst image quality with lots of chroma noise in our footage. Now since most people would typically be shooting at 1080p resolution, we did test this out too on all the phones. Here, all of them do an excellent job with details and stabilization under good lighting. The iPhone XS and the Pixel 3 XL have the most natural looking colors, while the Note 9 and the Pixel 2 XL tend to veer a bit towards the warmer side. We didn't encounter any focus hunting issues in either of the phones at this resolution. At night, the XS and the Pixel 3 XL are pretty close in terms of image quality and stabilization performance. However, the audio issue in the Pixel 3 XL puts the iPhone XS ahead. The Galaxy Note 9 has decent image quality too, but the footage is once again a bit jumpy. The Pixel 2 XL suppresses chroma noise quite well at this resolution, but the resulting footage is soft and not very detailed. Now all phones can also do slow motion video at 240 FPS. The resolution for both Pixels is still limited to 720p, while the others can do the same at 1080p. And the Galaxy Note 9 has one ace up its sleeve as it manages to shoot small bursts of video at 960 FPS. The Google Pixel 3 XL might be the best smartphone camera Google has made till date, but it's definitely not a clear winner amongst the competition. Now, iPhones have always been very good with video, and if you've seen any of our previous camera comparisons, they've often paled in comparison to Android phones when it comes to still images. But all of that changes with the iPhone XS. Apple has finally managed to build a good enough camera that can go toe to toe with the best Android phones for still photography, and more often than not, beat them at their own game. The phone's new Smart HDR feature is clearly a winner here as it balances colors, details, and exposure superbly. Unsurprisingly, it also continues to carry the torch for being the best device for video recording. While it's definitely a close fight between the iPhone XS and the Pixel 3 XL for the top spot, if you were to look at all-round performance for both stills and video, the Apple iPhone XS is the one to beat. So thanks for watching our comparison, and for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.